French conjugation. Just hearing that phrase can be a little intimidating, right? All those charts, all that memorization, it can feel like a huge mountain to climb. But what if I told you there's a secret? A single key that unlocks the whole system? Well, there is. And today, we're going to find it together.
Now, this lesson comes straight from the experts at a French Rendezvous, which is Canada's premier second language institution. We're actually diving into their core teaching materials to pull out a really fundamental concept that honestly is going to completely change the way you think about French verbs.
So here's what we've got on tap. We'll kick things off by talking about the secret to conjugation. Then we'll get into what le radical actually is and, more importantly, how you can find it. After that, we'll put it all to work. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how this one lesson is part of a much bigger learning system to get you fluent.
All right, let's get right into it. The secret to conjugation. You know, it's not about having a super brain for memorization. It's actually about a shift in perspective. We're moving away from just trying to cram everything into your head and moving towards understanding the beautiful, simple logic that's really at the core of the language.
I think every single person who's ever learned French has been here, right? You open a textbook, you see these massive tables of verb endings for all the different tenses and groups, and it just feels impossible. It can feel like this huge, unbreakable wall between where you are now and actually being fluent. But what if that wall isn't a wall at all? What if it's just a locked door? And what if you had the key? See, the thing is, French conjugation isn't just a random collection of rules. It's a system. And getting your head around that system, well, that's the single most important step you can take. And that brings us to the key itself. It's called radical. You might also hear it called the verb stem. This little thing is the absolute foundation of every single verb you're ever going to conjugate in French. Seriously. So, okay, what exactly is le radical? Well, the formal French definition you see here is la partie du verbe qui ne change pas dans la conjugaison. And all that means in English is the part of the verb that doesn't change during conjugation. It's like the steady, constant core of the verb. The endings, what we call les terminaisons, they're the bits that change and just clip onto this solid core. This table lays it out perfectly. Let's take the verb parler, which means to speak. In its basic infinitive form, you can see the two parts, the radical, parle, and the ending, er. Okay, now look what happens when we conjugate it. For nous parlons, we speak, or vous parlez, you speak. What do you notice? The ending changes, right? But that core, that parle part, it stays exactly the same. It's the anchor of the word. Okay, so if the radical is our anchor, the big question is, how do we find it? The good news is it's a really simple, repeatable process you can start using, like today. So for your regular verbs that end in ER, this is super straightforward. Step 1, you take the infinitive. As it says here, prenez le verbe à l'infinitif. Let's use the example chanter, to sing. Step 2, you just remove the infinitive ending. Retirez la terminaison. For chanter, that's the ER. And boom, step 3, what you're left with, chante, that's your radical. It's really that easy. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some little trick. This is the fundamental method. In fact, the lesson from a French Rendez-Vous says it directly. Pour trouver le radical d'un verbe, vous retirez la terminaison verbale ou l'infinitif du verbe, which translates to exactly what we just did. To find the radical of a verb, you remove the verbal ending of the infinitive. It's a clean, logical process. All right, so now we know what the radical is and we know how to find it. So let's put it to work. This is the fun part. This is where we go from theory to actually using it, and you're going to see just how powerful this is. Check out this table for chanter in the present tense. Column 1, we've got our pronouns je, tu, il, and so on. Now look at that second column. What do you see? The radical, chante, is exactly the same all the way down the list. It's constant. The only thing that's different is in column 3. That's the ending, les terminaisons. And you just snap that ending onto the radical to build the final, perfectly conjugated verb. And here it is in a real sentence. Les enfants chantent dans la chorale. That means the children sing in the choir. Okay, so the subject is les enfants, the children. That's the same as the pronoun il, or they. So what do? We take our trusty radical, chante. We grab the right ending for il, which is ont. We put them together, and we get chante. The system just works. And that right there is the big takeaway. Understanding the radical isn't just some neat grammar trick. It's the skill that changes conjugation from a painful memory exercise into a simple act of logic. It lets you build the verbs correctly on the fly instead of trying to desperately remember them from some giant list. Now, a powerful idea like this is an amazing first step, but to really make it stick, it helps to be part of a supportive system. So think of this lesson as just one piece of a much larger puzzle, a complete learning ecosystem that's designed to help you succeed. So at A French Rendezvous, this whole approach is built into a complete support system. We're talking personalized coaching with certified teachers, whether you're studying for a big exam or just for yourself. You get 24/7 access to an interactive learning platform full of lessons and exercises. And on top of that, you get a whole suite of tools, flashcards, visual aids, audio resources, you name it, all there to back you up. The whole point of this ecosystem is to give you a learning experience that's tailored just for you, to help you hit whatever your personal language goals are. So really, there's only one question left. You now have the key. You understand the logic behind verb conjugation. The real question is, are you ready to unlock your potential in French? Because that door to fluency, it's open and waiting for you.